For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form or comeliness, and when we see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. The Message says, the servant grew up before God a scrawny seedling, a scrubby plant in a parched field. There was nothing attractive about him, nothing to cause us to take a second look. Have you ever wondered why Judas kissed Jesus? Why did Judas need to give a sign to the crowd? You'll find the account in Matthew 26:47-50, where Judas says, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him." Jesus had spoken to many large gatherings, some with thousands of people attending. He had traveled a relatively small area, speaking and working great miracles. And yet, the mob of people needed Judas to identify Jesus with a sign. Why? Because Jesus Christ was totally unassuming, and there was nothing attractive about him. He was not a super charismatic man. He wasn't part of the popular crowd. He didn't stand out at all in the ways that we look for leaders. Not handsome, not a sharp dresser, not the biggest and strongest. Even the town he came from, Nazareth, had a lousy reputation. Not only was this town not famous, from Nathanael's words we can assume that Jesus' hometown was infamous. In John 1:46, Nathanael says, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" How much of our own lives do we spend trying to be somebody, trying to be recognized, to be special, to be some degree of famous, whether that's just among our peers, our community, or around the world? This present generation longs for celebrity, spotlight, and reputation. We want to be recognized. Yet the Son of God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords was so normal and unpretentious that someone who knew him intimately had to point at him and identify him. In Isaiah 14:14, Satan says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." In Genesis, Satan tempts man to take the same fall by saying, "For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Satan aspired to be like God, the boss, the top, the spotlight, the one who receives glory and praise, and he spread that same heart among God's children. But even Jesus Christ, God incarnate, wasn't seeking to be a superstar. How many times have we heard people say that they want to be famous so they can give glory to God? But not even Jesus aspired to be a household face. He said he came to do the Father's will. In John 5:30-31, Jesus says, "I can't do a solitary thing on my own. I listen, then I decide. You can trust my decision because I'm not out to get my own way, but only to carry out orders. If I were simply speaking on my own account, it would be an empty, self-serving witness." In Jesus' pre-crucifixion life, he gave all glory and praise to the Father, keeping none for himself. That's his example and his challenge for us. How do we refrain from positioning ourselves to receive glory and praise? How do we live our lives as open funnels that direct all glory and praise to our deserving and worthy Father God? In Matthew 5:5, Jesus says, "You're blessed when you're content with just who you are, no more, no less." That's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that can't be bought. Romans 12:1-2 says, "So here's what I want you to do, God helping you. Take your everyday ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. Let's completely surrender our lives to God, and let's decide together that we're going to be like John the Baptizer when he says, "He must increase, but I must decrease."